Welcome to the Affiliated Monitors Expert Podcast, hosted by Tom Fox on the Compliance Podcast Network. Today I'm joined by Mikhail Ryder-Gordon on aspects of monitorship. First of all, thank you for taking the time to visit with me today.
Oh, well, thank you, Tom. I appreciate the opportunity.
So before we get into today's topic, I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about your professional background.
Sure. Very, very briefly. I actually began my professional career at the RAND Corporation. I provided analysis to U.S. government agencies. I took on investigative and crisis management roles with U.S. DOJ and Homeland Security, and then returned to the private sector. I actually led anti-piracy investigations for the Motion Picture Association of America, built their first global internet anti-piracy program. And spent a number of years there, and then used all of that experience dealing with investigations of transnational organized crime, money laundering, corruption, piracy, and the intersection of all of those. I moved over to a Big Four, to Deloitte, advised global corporations, Fortune 100, particularly around anti-corruption and fraud, anti-money laundering, a lot of technology, some CFIUS work, and then transitioned to become a director of global disputes and investigations at Navigant. And again, focused on regulatory compliance, political, cultural challenges where they intersect with laws and regulations for corporate and institutional ethics, compliance, risk, responsibility, corporate social responsibility and governance, and manage that active litigation advisory practice. Again, Fortune 500, but also local, state, federal, and municipalities, local federal agencies, and a lot of focus on international law. And then was lured to Affiliated Monitors.
Well, we'll talk about you moving over to Affiliated Monitors in a little bit, but I was wondering, one of the themes throughout my podcast series with Affiliated Monitors has been an independent integrity monitors. And I wanted to ask you, from your professional background, why do you feel that independence in a monitor is so critical going forward?
Yeah, this is the lawyer in me that's going to come out. I think we've really seen since monitors and the idea of monitorships has grown, I think we've really seen regulators select or allow the selection of monitors where their true independence is perhaps dubious. There's a trend toward hiring former colleagues with their agencies or people they have worked with in the past by regulators. And I think some select believing someone they know may be more sympathetic, whether that is to the enforcement side or the defense side. But selecting monitors who have worked with their former agencies has received some well-documented criticism over the years. There's some accusations of cronyism. But you do have to question how independent that monitor can be. Law firms, even Big Four, and no disrespect to my former firm, but who want to continue to work with a particular sector or industry may not truly bring independence to a monitorship. We're veering into that danger of informal sympathies. Elena Ledneva, with her Encyclopedia of Informality, really helped focus attention on the subtle influences that can remove true impartiality and drift into a form of corruption. And this is not to suggest any monitors are corrupt, but to underscore that, true neutrals are not as easily come by as may be thought. Informality such as found in so many of our human relationships, former law school classmates, former work colleagues, friendships, even a similar social background can play such a significant role in allowing dispensations to occur, all of which can impact the success of combating noncompliance. Emotion-driven exchanges, including values-based practices of solidarity and belonging, and the ubiquity of these practices by insiders is not often I think you could say it's not often visible to anyone outside, and maybe not even consciously understood by those involved themselves, but it can certainly lead to the awarding a monitorship to an individual or firm that's not genuinely independent. And there's such a subtle spectrum here where informality and culture can allow biases to impact the value of the monitoring process before it's even kicked off. We've seen some recent matters where, for a number of reasons, the monitor has not gone the distance and had to be replaced. That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate for the company or entity being monitored. It's unfortunate for the regulator and the monitor. But at least in some of these, there was a problem with the monitor being insufficiently independent and insufficiently strong enough to keep the entity under monitorship on track, if you will.
So could you tell us a little bit about how you came to join AMI?
Well, that was actually one of the key attractions for me in joining AMI. It's all affiliated monitors does. We are monitors. We can do it proactively, or we can do it at the appointment of a regulator, but we don't play favorites. We don't set out with an agenda. We certainly don't worry about retaining other business with an industry or company. I mean, we're truly organized to be independent. We don't go into a monitorship to play gotcha or come in with a regulator's mentality, but neither do we come in with an attitude that nothing can be improved. I mean, we have found that a remedial approach is very effective, and that was particularly attractive to me. I mean, I've spent 25 years in investigations and compliance, and this independence is particularly attractive. And it's very important to remember that even when a company or individual who under some form of settlement agreement is going to be under a monitor, but who genuinely believes they have done nothing wrong, and we do encounter those folks, that they think they've just been wrongly prosecuted, that there's still room to improve. A company that truly holds the belief that because whatever transactions occurred did so at the hands of only one or two individuals, those folks have been removed, therefore the company shouldn't suffer monetary penalties or have a monitor imposed upon them. They can start with a monitor from a fairly negative place. And one of my jobs, one of AMI's jobs when we serve as monitors, it's the importance of helping them get to an understanding that no compliance program is ever complete. There are always improvements to be made. Recognize where changes are occurring, adapt to them. And this comes back to remembering, and I think when we deal with general counsel, maybe this isn't as difficult with some, but the letter and the spirit of the law are not static. If you look at how society's attitude has changed with respect to our understanding of privacy law or the Me Too movement, a company's compliance program is in constant evolution. May be driven by a change in a proposed marketing campaign, a new acquisition or merger, a new product or product line, an expansion into a new territory. Even a change in personnel can prompt revisiting elements of a program. So as you well know, compliance and ethics programs need to be growing and changing constantly. So again, back to understanding an ethical culture where informality can allow certain behaviors to slide into a willingness to cross lines. Could be a specific regulation or failing to see that the spirit of the law is really not being fully upheld in a particular entity's environment as it stands when we walk in. So where a company or individual commences being monitored but really doesn't believe that they have done anything wrong, we start at the position, okay, you don't have to agree you violated the law, but we can all agree that every compliance and ethics program can be improved. So let's start there and address what changes have to occur that will demonstrate to the outside world, company, to the regulator, that it's now following the terms of the consent order or settlement agreement. Let's get you to that place and help you to understand the value of constant evolution and compliance and ethics program.
Unfortunately, we are near the end of our time, but I hope, Kyle, I greatly look forward to continuing the conversation.
Thank you. I do too.
Hello, everyone. This is Tom Fox again. I'd like to thank you for listening to this episode. For more information on Affiliated Monitors, check out their website, www.affiliatedmonitors.com. I hope you'll join us again for another episode where Mikhail and I take a look at another aspect of monitorships, which is something that you should consider in your compliance program going forward.